Hey, it's Don the Auction Professor. Today I'm going to shoot out a bunch of bolos together. I am filming several videos today, all related to the same topic, just so they have consistency with the idea and thoughts. But we're going to talk about costume jewelry today. I'm going to go into the basics today on actual companies and the markings to look for on probably the biggest key ones here. But they'll be the most easily found items in this genre, this niche, and they still sell fairly well, so you should be able to make a good profit on these. I would probably be shocked if you couldn't find at least a few of these, relatively quickly looking, because we run into them all the time. But this will be the part one of the video, and we're just going to go into the basics today. So we're going to go to the screen and we're going to talk about costume jewelry right now. Okay, so today I'm going to just touch on higher-end jewelry, and I'm going to talk about some of the makers. Now, these are different ages. Some of these go back to the 30s, and some of these are as new as the 80s and 90s. This is just the gamut of stuff you are going to find. I have never walked up on something jewelry-wise and just found a bunch of all the same era of stuff. Usually it's just across the board, especially if you're at a sale. It's just a bunch of stuff in there, so you're going to have to know a lot to really be effective in jewelry, construction, and things like that. But I can promise you, if you take the time to research and pay attention to the videos and the items you see and look up stuff, you're going to get these. It's nothing hard. It's nothing that everybody should be able to get this and understand jewelry with some practice. Now, it's more than just looking at the names of the creators on them, because a lot of the companies that make them, like Trifari, which we're going to touch on Trifari a lot, makes cheap pieces that aren't really worth much at all. And the markings almost identical, if not identical in many of the cases, from a $1,000 piece to, say, a $5 piece. So you've got to understand the vintage. So that's why I say the construction comes into play, the style of the jewelry, the piece, the line that jewelry came from, regardless of the maker. Like Trifari has many lines of jewelry, and we're going to touch on some of them now. They're like that's not necessarily a pattern, but there'll be like 5 or 6 pieces that are all put out for the same line. Back when, like, Trifari and some of these jewelry pieces came out, they were some of the newest designer faux jewelry, I guess you could call it costume jewelry. So anyway, we're going to look at the first one here. Now, this one, the signature isn't great, so I've got another copy of one of the similar pins like this. This one I'm showing because a lot of people miss this one. And they miss it because it just looks like some junky modernist, and it is new. It's from the 60s. A lot of these are marked. This one, I believe, probably has a 68 or 69 mark on it. You can't make it out very well, but I'm guessing 68 because that's usually what I see. Lichtenstein is the artist, Roy Lichtenstein. I've seen and had a couple pieces by him. They're not all worth a fortune, so don't get excited. I believe this one sold in the $3,000 range as a best offer. But it doesn't look like much. That's the key on this. They're handmade for the most part. Now, I've shown some handmade signed pieces that I've got in haul videos that I'll get $300-400 out of. And these are pieces of jewelry. Most of the time, I only spend a couple dollars. Other than the ones that are marked sterling, or if somebody happens to know something about, how they're marked on the back, I might pay more. And I've spent $50, $60, $100 on one single piece of costume jewelry on many occasions. So I'm not afraid to shell out the money. Much over $100, I'm always cautious because the market fluctuates greatly on some pieces. So, and in the time of the year, the right person has to be on. There's more factors in it than seeing something worth $4,000 to know if you should sink $100 into it. And as I said, this one only sold for like $3, but I have another one up here. I think maybe it's right here, maybe not. Let's slide up. Yeah, here's another one by the same artist, and I believe this one shows a better example of. Let's go up top and look at it, because I think you can see a zoom in better. Yeah, here we go. There it is, 69 or 68 again, this one. Lichtenstein, he made them for another company, Multiples or something along that line. I don't remember the name on that. I just look for his name, because his name is what you'll see on most every piece, regardless of anything else. Now, this is the same one. These show up even crammed in with just military, cheap $2 military pins. Most people miss this maker's pins, Liechtenstein, or the artist, I should say, because that's the actual artist who designed this. And there's other pins of the same similar design, worth some money. You have to know a little bit about it. You have to understand jewelry. Most of the people who mess with these high-end ones have massive sources, and that's all they do mostly is costume jewelry. So they know what to look for. They know the sources. They hit high-end estate sales and sales before most anybody else does. And this is just what these type of people do. Nothing against them, nothing bad or anything else. So, you know, I get them when I can. I get anything I can, actually. So anyway, let's move on to some pieces too that you're going to see some have a better chance on. Now, I see a lot of costume jewelry, so I've run into a Liechtenstein piece. Now this is a De Nicolas, and this is now these pins you're never going to run into the whole set of them. I would be shocked as all can be if you ever run into a set of these. Just know the difference between the Zodiac Signs, I guess. Now, the one there on the left with the arrow being shot, that similar design and shape. There's many other companies that make them Trifari, and other ones have a lot of these Zodiac Signs. This one has some nice stonework and some insets that are three-dimensionally carved, and that's the key on a lot of these. You just have to get the gist of it. Now, they do have a marking on these, too. Unfortunately, they didn't do a close-up. You can see a little oval disc by or under the pin, like the one to the right there with the crescent moon shape. There is a little oval disc of metal that is mounted to the back, and that's where the marking is. You kind of got to know some of what to look for and where to look for, but a lot of these early pieces have that oval, which you can see in most of these have them mounted, not just by this brand, but a ton of other brands do. But you see a lot of these, like this 1/10 10-karat gold, 1/10 14-karat gold filled, or any of those you see. They're all gold filled markings, so you'll see them on that same kind of thing. So look for signed jewelry first. Always, always, always signed jewelry. You're easily able to identify those. The unsigned ones are the harder ones to get. I can identify some of the unsigned ones only by sheer volume of pieces I've had. And that's literally all it's going to take. It's going to take you to have a lot of stuff and to see a lot. Now, this is another one, dimensionally carved pieces and things like that. It's got, you know, some nice mounted stones on it, too. Now, plique de jour is a enameling process that is clear. We're going to show you some of that, too, because you'll see what's called waffle glass. And then three-dimensional you'll see mentioned, too. You'll see the Alfred Philipp name on the listings. It's only going to be marked Trifari, so just keep that in mind. And even if you see the Alfred Philippe, however you want to pronounce it, it's not going to be marked on that piece that way, so just keep that in mind. Now, this is a cape pin, fur pin, cape pin. You can tell by how it's done. It slides through. You know, you don't have to clip it because there would be no way to clip through a big thick fur is the gist of this piece here. And then it's got a little spike at the bottom, and most of them have that. That helps to hold it in place. The mark's a little hard to tell, but it's up in the top of the pin. It's a crown Trifari. There's a crown over the T of Trifari, and that is the mark that I look for. I've shown it in videos of pieces that I found. Now, crown Trifari, the pin, the marking itself on anything doesn't necessarily make the value. It's everything else about it. This is just a fabulous piece. I mean, $2,600 on an open bid. Just a nice piece. Now, some of these would be a auction only, unless you know it's a common pin. And you can tell usually on the Trifari pieces which ones are common and not, with just some basics, some basic knowledge. Cape pins usually go for some good money. They're usually older pieces as well, as the capes went out of fad in a certain time frame. So anyway, let's move on here. This is a fabulous set. Now, this isn't just a single piece. I would have never sold it as a set personally. They might have gotten a little more out of it. This is just a fabulous set. They don't show the markings, unfortunately, but it is a crown Trifari mark on all of these. They're well marked too. You can't miss it. And you'll see, I think I may have even pulled up some just individual ones. And this is the Firebird. This is, I think, the main piece that was advertised when you see advertisements on this, or even when you look in price guides. Now, these are ones, a lot of these specific series are ones you will find in a price guide. $2,300 for this set of 5. Now, don't ever expect to find a set. One piece I would be very happy with to find, and I find Trifari crown pieces that are worth hundreds quite often, more so than say, like a toy that's worth hundreds. That's just, I find more of these just because a lot of people don't know it, and when they go into the costume jewelry line, people just don't mess as much. I see, and I can buy them at auctions at greatly reduced price, and usually in big quantity. Now this is another crown Trifari. I'm sure it's Trifari. Now this one would have had the crown, but it's cut off due to space. Maybe it's on. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, see, there you go. You got to know the era to know if it's going to have a crown. I knew this piece. I've seen similar ones. Any of these dimensional, they say 3D because the stones even are three-dimensional, and they're in the shape to match what it's supposed to be. So it's like a flowery design. And you'll see that terminology as well, too. Then this is a whole set, obviously, too. So anyway, I look for sets first. Sets always go for more, always. Matching sets. Now, I've got some matching sets in here and others that there was only one piece made in that design. So keep that in mind. Don't always expect to have everything be a matched set. And even if you have a necklace and only one earring, still buy it, especially if it's cheap enough. Now, I only spend a couple bucks on some of these. This is a newer one, but this is Lunch at the Ritz. Now, type that in, do a comp search, like I say many times. It's marked, it's well marked too. I've only had one piece by this, and then other ones I didn't know at first, and I passed on some because they were just so gaudy. But they do sell very, very high, especially this because it's a lot of work. That's all enamel with inlaid stone. It's a fabulous angelfish setup here, just awesome. 2,100. Now, I would have bought this, these days, I would have just jumped on this one. I would have spent a couple $100 probably on this one. And it's mod. You can see, the styling of them. They signed it. Nice piece. It's just a good piece. I just can't speak for this one enough. I love even the clasp, because usually pieces, costume jewelry won't have this fanciful of a design on the back end or a clasp, because you just aren't going to see that. They spent the extra effort to do it all the way around, which is nice. So the back of the neck for a lady, this would just show off just a nice piece for formal dining or something. And very nice. I can't say enough about the artwork on these. I just really love them. Next one here now, another Trifari, rarest of the rare. I mean, it's early white is what they're talking about. The style of the stones, the moon opalescence of the green, the shaping of it, the stalks of the branches, irises. I would say this is violets. I don't know violets. I would say that's maybe iris in my opinion, but I could be wrong. It's a nice piece. They're not huge pieces either. And these I usually am able to get sometimes for a couple bucks, because most people don't know the difference between a $1,000 Trifari piece and a $20 Trifari piece. That's just my personal experience. I know that's not going to be everybody's, but I don't remember where this one was marked at. I know I've run into a similar one or seen one at a sale before. I'm sure it's marked. They don't have a good close-up on it. Oh well, but anyway, it's a nice piece. That's the point. Let's see here. No, this is a newer piece, Chanel. Now, a lot of people are worried on Chanel. This is one item that if it's fake, you don't ever want to sell it. So you better darn well know it's a real Chanel piece. Now, there are some modernistic price guides, and I will maybe do a touch on that in one of the other videos on this, because I'm going to have 3 videos out on just costume jewelry this week. All BOLO videos, all directly related to things that you're going to see. As in the movie Devil Wears Prada. So, I mean, this one's a specific one, but anyway, you are going to be able to track these down. If you don't know, don't sell them until you do know, because on the Chanel piece, you will get a Vero on it for sure. No questions asked. The company very, very rigorously, enforces it on eBay. I've had a Chanel piece 10, 15 years ago hit back then for copyright, and it was a pen set that I thought was good, and turned out later on it's not. And I've seen it now a half a dozen times since then. It's gold, so I sold it for the gold value, just to a scrapper. But anyway, let's move on to the next one here. Okay, the next one's another Chanel piece. Again, some of these are new. You just have to make sure that they are authentic. This one, I've seen this mark. I know this is a good mark. There are fake marks, though, that look good, too. But this one, I would more than guarantee this one looks correct all the way around, even construction. So, anyway, this is a good one, $1,900. Next one. Now, this one I brought up. This one's gold, but... George Jensen. And I've even shown pieces by George Jensen, including a 8 or 10 ounce solid silver plate that I got just for a couple bucks. They're usually marked in a small, non-conspicuous area. This is a perfect example here. People also get confused. Sometimes the 18K could be worn off, and you might think it's just silver or gilt silver, which does show up. Jensen, you will see, it's usually marked the same way. That's a separate piece of metal that was attached with his mark on it. The rest are all impressions. So anyway, 2,400. But a lot of the George Jensen pieces sell. And as I said, I've had silverware by them. It's a Norwegian piece, Norway, Netherlands style. It's that Dutch stylish thing. It's a pretty good piece. Anything by them I usually look for. And again, as I said, some of the silver pieces are marked like 830. So most people don't realize that's sterling as well. In some of the other videos on jewelry, I'll probably touch on them as well again, or him. More Crown Trifari. Again, I'll just show you a couple more of the marks. This one should be marked well. It's up there on the top, but that's the only mark, huh? That's kind of odd. But you can see the... Does it have his actual name on it? Hang on, let's look a little closer and see. The typical Trifari. There would be a crown, except where it's marked, and patent pending. Now, that patent pending usually is like a 50s or earlier piece. This is World War II. It's a V for victory. Nice piece, $1,800. Now, I look for the pins more than I do anything else, so just FYI. Another Crown Trifari. You can see it. I don't even have to guess. And it's a cape pin, too. Or it's got the clasp there that you could use it for a brooch as well, too. So it goes either way on that piece. And it's got the necklace. It's a nice set of them. The melon shape there at the bottom are what I look for in a lot, too. Now, anything with that green stone, that's the melonish shape. It's like a fluted... three-dimensional piece almost. Very nice piece, 1949. They can date these specifically without a date because they there's a book just on Trifari. In fact, I'll probably, as I said, touch on those on another video here. The necklace is marked too. Let me back up where you can blow up on it. The necklace is marked though too. You can see it down there in it, and usually it's marked oddly in a weird spot, so you've got to pay attention to how it's marked. Now these are always early, the patent pending, which this one has on it. See it there on the left on the necklace on the bottom. But anyway, let's move on here. Now these are some mixed pieces here. Now I've had eagles and things. They always sell any of these, especially like the enamel ones up on the top. Those are the kicker ones in my book. I've seen eagles similar to the bottom one. Let's see if they show all the marks, because nope, they don't have marks on them all. Silson is the one that doesn't show up very often, but the Trifari, maybe they've got them down here. Nope. Unfortunately not. But anyway, $1,683 for those 3 pins. And again, these are things that most people miss. Now, Boucher, now I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I've had MB Boucher. MB is usually in a circle. Let's see if they've got a good picture of it. I've had Kate pins by Boucher many times. There it is over there. It's wrong direction, so let's see if I got a better zoom in on it. That's just the patent information. Boucher, it should say. Usually MB is in a circle. They don't have it a good image of it, it doesn't look like. Oh, is that better? Nope, the Boucher you can kind of see, but sometimes it just has Boucher without the MB. But in general, all these fancy stone pieces of any type are usually worth something. This one's got some nice enamel on top of it, the green and red, and then it's also like a mixed colored enamel on the edges of that. Kind of like a phoenix bird. Yeah, phoenix, they even have it in there. So you can tell phoenix, usually it has that tufts of feathers across their head and the beak, and it's a specific style. Usually the head's turned like that, but 1600 for that one. Now I've talked about waffle glass. Now this is like plique de jour. I may be pronouncing plique de jour wrong, but it's a enamel process that's clear. It's like, it looks kind of like this, but without the waffle pattern. And this is what that's actually copying off of. They made a faux version of the plique de jour. But if you look it up, it starts with PLI. I can't remember the whole spelling on it. I have it written down. But plique de jour pieces are this fabulous enamel, usually vintage Victorian era. Most every one of those I've gotten at least $100 for, and they're pins that you usually can find for a couple dollars, and they're not going to be marked. It's just the process. I will touch on that on the one of the other videos as well too. But the waffle pattern, you can see it's got like a waffle-ish pattern to the glass. It's through both sides. It's just a stylish pattern. The opposite side also might have the yeah, there's it's made to look like a leaf, kind of, I guess you could say. Either way, it's nice. I'm not going to touch on the Trifari mark because I'm sure once you've seen one, you've seen them all. They're all pretty close to the same. Some of the newer Crown Trifari, there's a little weakly stamped. It's not going to be as deeply stamped as that. This is a nice piece, too. Let's see if we can... Yeah, it doesn't look like they have a good copy of the example of the marking. But this one you're going to just know, Juliana. It's marked on there. It's literally what it says. So 1596 or 90. Now this one it says invisible set. Now invisible set are ones where the stones all come up and touch each other, and you can't see any mounting parts on them. Now the green piece there is probably one solid set stone. All the rest are invisible settings. You can literally see it looks just like a branch. There's no markings. Now, if you look at the white rhinestones, you can see a little bead that holds the stones in. Now, that is not present. There is no present marking or ability to show you how it's mounted for the blue stones. Maybe this one's marked a little different. No, it's hard to tell on their image here. But anyway, it's another Crown Trifari. Again, it might not always have the crown on it, just because they stamped it on the edge and the crown is just off image a little bit. So anyway. Now this is a nice one, Anthony Aquilino. Again, I'm not sure on the pronunciation. That's how I've always pronounced it. I've heard somebody pronounce it that way, and ever since then, that's how I've pronounced it. And there's a plate. Some of them are hand signed. Let's see if this is one of them. Just a second. It's kind of hard to tell on this one, but it's like a signature. And here's an example of the whole works here too. So, inventor by Mark Max, attorney. Yeah, this must just be some illustration from the copyright. Yeah, there's the copyright information. Filed May 13th, 1945. So it's a nice piece either way. I'm not worried about that, but it's marked Anthony Aquilino. So you'll see it, $1,850. Again, if you're just looking at the face of this, let's go back to the face a second here. It doesn't look like anything fancy. It doesn't have to be sterling. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just a nice looking pin. Even if this wasn't by him, the style is the style of the pin would still sell for 40 or so bucks, would be my guess. Cats and jelly bellies sell well. Jelly belly means like the big stone, like the fishbowl on that last one. Now this is invisible settings too, it looks like. Do they have an enlargement on this one? No, they don't, unfortunately. I hate the ones that don't have enlargement. I always make an enlargement on it. Yeah, can't zoom in. 300. They would have probably sold it better if they could have done a better job and offered more pictures, because they even cut off part of it, and you can't see the whole back. This was listed poorly, in my opinion. But anyway, nice piece either way, though. $14.95 on this one. This one's a fabulous piece. I mean, just all around, it's got everything you look for in this style. Now, this is a coral craft. Some of them just say coral. Let's see how it's marked. Or do they even show the marks? Now, some don't show the marks. They'll show the pages, yeah, like this, just so you can see. Now, there's books of these. You can find a lot of this stuff online. I guess maybe this is an unmarked piece. They just know their jewelry, I guess. Yeah, this is a specific one that's been in books. Yeah, this is, they've actually copied the book pages is all. Some of this you're just going to have to know. Verrocchio, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but Jean Verrocchio, I've always pronounced it, and I've seen several pieces by the same person, but it's a coral craft. Now, I look for coral craft, and you can see the stone colors, like that pink color. That's a specific color coral craft uses, that with the white. I'm going to touch on coral craft because they do cheaper pieces too, and they've got a Christmas tree that you should be finding right about now. This is usually when I find the coral craft Christmas trees, and sometimes it just says coral, sometimes coral craft. They've done some actually 18 karat gold pieces from what I see, and some sterling too, which I've had personally myself. So anyway, this is a fabulous piece. Now this is a har. It's marked HAR. I don't always look up the name brand always. I don't really know who HAR is. I'm sure if you looked in a book, you're going to be able to find it pretty much quickly. I just look for the markings, and that's all I ever list in the listing is HAR. Anybody selling this is going to do that. This is like a fortune teller piece. This is awesome. This is early 50s-ish, maybe even into the 40s, I would guess. Just a real nice piece. A jelly belly would be like his belly right there. That's what they call them. It's just a nice piece. It's just all around nice, chunky, just what you look for in these. At least what I would be looking for. A really nice piece, honestly. Usually coral is written on the clasp over there on the left. And you can see the era by how it's pieced together with the links that link the whole thing together. That's how I can usually tell. But anyway, let's move on here. Another coral craft. Yeah, and Philippe, again, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but this is an awesome piece. This is just like a perfect example of the 40s. And this is a real early one, 1942, this one's stated as. Now, this one, they could have got that date from the book. I don't see too many that are actually dated. I don't think I've ever seen a coral craft with a specific date. They may be dating it by the patent date. It obviously could have been made after the patent date. That's just the date it was registered. So a lot of people don't realize that. So don't always pay attention to the patent date as being the date something was made. That's just the date it was patented. And the production line could have ran years later. So anyway, $1,500. We'll just whiz through a few more here. Another Crown Trifari. Awesome piece here, too. Just an awesome piece. Soursop. That's kind of like a apple or a fruit melon of a vine or tree or something, from what I understand. $1,248. Another Crown Trifari. Nice, awesome piece. Mother of Pearl. Bugs always sell for us. So anyway, $1,200. Marked all the same. Again, I'm not going to go into the markings on them. Now, this is pools of light is what a lot of people call these. And you will see that I've shown one similar to this. Now, these are actually cut stone, cut actual rock quartz. Now, I've shown them. I get them too. The carved pieces are even better. Not just the spheres, but ones that have like ridges, like the melons I just showed you. Those sell, and that's what I've gotten. Now, sometimes they'll be mixing with like rose quartz and regular quartz, and this one has some, looks like some other kind of quartz in it too. The second one up from the bottom, second row, looks a little darker. I guess it could be a reflection, but I really think that's probably like a more rose quartz. But these I look for all the time. Most every one I get that are pools of light or rock crystals sell for hundreds. Every one. Like the one I showed in the video, it's probably been a couple months since I showed the haul video with that in it. But that one there, I expect to get 300 or 400 out of it. It's a $2 piece. Paid $2 for it. Most people won't know. They'll think it's just glass. So you got to be careful and look at these with the loupe, and you can see some of the minute fractures or the inclusions in them to be able to tell. That's where the loupe comes in. Everything I take a loupe every time I'm looking at jewelry. I always have a loupe with me in my pocket or in my car everywhere I go, every single place I go. And in the description of this video, obviously, there's some links for loupes. Miriam Haskell. Now, I find Miriam Haskell pieces. I've sold some. I've shown some in a video here, too, a haul video. I got a not clip-on, but a screwback pair of earrings that I got 168 bucks out of. And they were clunky looking like this. Now, most of her pieces have danglies on them like this. Like the earring might just be one of the little round circular rhinestone and pearl pieces that you see. There's, let's say, 3. There's 6 of them on the face of this hanging down. Like one of those would be what an earring would look like, kind of, with like 1 or 2 dangly strands coming off of it. It's marked Miriam Haskell. You can't miss it. Sometimes it just says MH, I've seen too. But that's literally what all the pieces I've seen are marked, just like that. Not necessarily the circle. Sometimes they're in like a box. I've seen one with a box too. So anyway, $1,100, $1,200. Now this is another one. I don't see a marking on this one. Now most of the mermaid ones, you can just tell by the gaudiness of this one, hopefully. Hopefully you can see how gaudy and how the stones are set. They're nice stones, mother of pearls too. Now I doubt they're real pearls or anything, but anyway, let's see if there is a marking on it. Sometimes they don't list the marking. Sterling. I'm not sure on that marking. I am not sure. A DeRosa. Oh, that doesn't quite look like. Either way, maybe it's an R DeRosa for Royal DeRosa. That could very well be too. But either way, it's a nice piece. Look for the style. Even if this was a new piece not by them, it would still be worth 40 or 50 bucks would be my guess. Even if it wasn't something, a recreation of the original. This is like a 50s version. So anyway, let's move on here. That was almost 1,200. Now, this is called Brutalist. This is Modernist Brutalist. Now, Brutalist is it almost looks dangerous, I guess you could say. It's all pokey. It's just rash and harsh, and you just got to know it, I guess. It's Modernist. I would instantly say Modernist with the way the mane is looking. It's not realistic. It's Modernist. You just got to have a grasp on this, you know. And Brutalist is more this clunky, this oppressive, this. It's hard to explain. I mean, I know a Brutalist piece when I see one, I guess I could say, but this one's just, it's not refined. It's brutal. It looks like it's just been hammered out or poured in a sand cast mold or something. You know, it's probably brass. Pal Kepeneus. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Now, some of these names, I'm terrible on names. But it's always marked. That's the key here. See how crude it's marked? This is a cast piece of some sort. Probably lost wax or something along that line. This is a typical clip. They're really cheaply looking. These you are going to find occasionally. Not this specific one. Usually not these gaudy ones. But smaller versions of this by the same person. By Pal Kepeneus. Because people miss these. They just think they look like junk. A lot of people tell me that. Even if I pull one out in you know, I'm talking to a friend or something, he's showing me some of his purchases or something, I'll say, hey man, wait, grab that piece. You know, sure enough, you can usually tell this stylish brutalist movement. I mean, it's just a whole genre, I guess, from the 60s in that era. It maybe even go back to the 50s, like the Cubanist or Cubist era. Now, Crown Jafari again. This is a nice piece. This is Jewels of India. They're like a recreation or made to look like British crown jewels from India, like the Indian opals and things like that. Now, I've seen just a pin of that cross or broken pieces of just that cross where people don't realize what it is. And I've had some of these before from the same line. $1,160 basically. With an AC and a crown. Now that one I want to see. Now there's designers for Trifari. Now I've had some of them even, and I've shown a couple pieces here. You probably won't get to see the marking on this one, would be my guess. Yeah, they don't have the marking in there. Maybe they have it down below. But anyway, it's marked the same way as most all of them. The crown. Let me look down here around. There's another Jewels of India. You can just tell by it's got the rounded cabochon forms on it. It has, so it's rather interesting. But anyway, 1160 basically. Now this is Eisenberg. Eisenberg makes a lot of pieces. Now I see it. It's marked literally just Eisenberg. Do they have a picture of the marking? Yeah, there we go. There's a nice one. Now this one's marked better than most. Most just have plain out impressed markings on it. Now this one's a designer piece, Cape pins, a set even. So this one's like individually marked with some kind of machine, I would guess, and it's marked with the original mark. Most of them just say Eisenberg. That's it. Cape pins again. This is what a Cape pin clip looks like on the back. The double pins are usually Cape pins. Almost every one. This is just a primo piece. I mean, it's just awesome. I really love that set there. King and Queen. It's just a nice piece. 1150 almost. I appreciate the artwork on these, so that's part of why Juliana. Now we've showed you another one. This one's probably not going to be marked, would be my guess either. Or if it is, they just didn't show it for whatever reason. I don't know why you wouldn't show it. Maybe they did show it. No, they didn't. There's nothing marked here that you can see. Some of these you're just going to have to know. That would be my best guess. Anyway, you're going to have to get a book on it. But any of these gaudy things like this, even if it's from the 60s. Now, this isn't a solid piece. I wouldn't buy this if it was solid. These are linked pieces, individual stones. All of those were probably hand set. That's what they did back then in a lot of these jewelry. That's why they're worth some money nowadays. These hand-set pieces. It's the only way to have set these stones. And there's a ton of stones, iridescent, the whole works. Just awesome piece too. Just over $1,000. And again, I'm going to have 2 more videos out this week just on jewelry. You know, this is something you need to be bombing because this is showing up, and I do sell a lot more jewelry for the holidays. Another Trafalgar. And again, Alfred Phillip. They're missing an E off the end, but oh well. That was the Ming era series. There's a series that are just like the Ming Dynasty look. Dragons and stuff, Chinese emblems and things. Yves Saint Laurent, 70s piece. Crystal Rock cross. Nice piece, and I believe they're all marked. And that's what you look for, that mark right there. Now, sometimes it spells out the whole thing, but literally it usually just has a little hanging tag. Now, watch out, too, because some people add those tags. I don't know if there's a company that's made fake ones or they buy them off scammed ones and put them on nicer pieces, but just watch out. $995. Next one. Now, this is Christian Dior by Cramer. Now, Cramer's a common company. Cramer of New York. But you'll see Christian Dior. I've had Cramer pieces that had Christian Dior on it. Cramer of NY, Cramer of New York. You're going to see that on all the pieces, either on the clasp like you see it there, or that little oval that's mounted separately. This is a known set, though, so I mean, it's probably in a book, I would say, even from my knowledge on these. In that, like the filigree or the little wing sections off the little heart stones, you'll see those too. That's pretty common too. But anyway, let's move on here. Ija Moini. Now, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but I actually bought a piece of this that my wife kept. She wears it quite often. It's marked very readily. This is a fab piece right here. It's like a shrimp. It's just an awesome piece. My wife would have probably kept this one if we would have found it. It's a nice, substantial piece. I just love this piece, too. I mean, I really like a lot of these pieces, jewelry or not. I mean, I'd never obviously wear it, but for the intricacy and the art aesthetic appeal of the piece, it's awesome. $3,400. This is a uppity designer, too, so it's a newer piece. Invisible set, nice piece here, Crown Trafari, $1,200. Now, any of the invisible set Trafari pieces are worth money. Almost any of them. This is just an awesome piece. Very well done. You can kind of get the gist when you've seen a bunch of these. Most of these were all hand-set stones, of course. $1,200 that one was. Another Trafari, Crown Trafari at that, $1,000. Again, that was like a 3-dimensional one. Another Trafari. Now, this one's incredible. This one's just awesome. $1,000. I'm surprised it didn't go for more. They could have probably put this one up as a bin. $1,500. This is a known piece. This one is in the book. I would have had a crown above it, but where they marked it, it obviously cut it off. But anyway. Another Eisenberg piece is next, and this is what I look for, these stones. The last one I had was a blue stoned one, and it's a 50s blue. You won't see this dark, deep blue on some of the newer ones. And there's the Eisenberg mark that I see right there. I don't remember what it has underneath it. It might say original as well, but usually I just see Eisenberg. Nice piece, though. Either way, it's nice looking, interesting piece. But let's move on here. This one's $1,150. Eisenberg, another name. Now this one I just threw in here because I really love this one too. This is a hand-carved Bakelite. It's several pieces layered together and then carved out. I'll probably touch on Bakelite too. I just sold a Bakelite Poodle Pin that's similar constructed as this one. Those 2 silver circles are the rivets from the eyes that actually hold, or one rivet that holds the piece together, because that top section, the top colored light section, is a secondary piece added. $970. And then now this one is a Bijou Lanvin. Now again, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. You will find it. Lanvin, sometimes you'll see. Here's an ad for the same piece. These are new, so they show up, and you won't think much of them. They are interchangeable too. You can swap out those 2 pieces. Now, I've seen them in the box. I haven't been lucky enough to be the first one there. I watched somebody walk out in front of me once before with one of these. And then I found one piece with one single of the interchangeable, missing the box and everything. And I still got a couple hundred for that, so anyway, you're paying for the box on this one in the complete set. So $14.72. And Lanvin sometimes is all you'll see marked. Trifari Jewels of India, another one. Nice big bangle bracelet, very nice. And there's the same melon style with the moon drop style rounded stones too. So anyway, nice piece, $9.40. Another crown Trifari. And again, it's nice inset stones. Oh, they don't have enlargements on this. There you go, yeah. Nice piece. You can see it's like on a pillow of another stone underneath it, which sometimes they use quartz, but this one's not. Obviously, just glass. $900. Now this is a pretty good, and this is another Har. Now I've shown you a piece a minute ago, and I've got one more set by Har, H-A-R, and it's marked just that. You know, it doesn't look like much. Even these clip-ons I'll take. Either way, even if they're missing, there's usually a little earpiece that you can get that goes with that too. But anyway, that's still a pretty good piece. $9.77. He did it as a buy it now too, so it was still good. And another one here, another piece set. So you got the bracelet and you got the clip-on. So I don't mind if they're clip-on. They're just these gaudy pieces. I mean, they're just gaudy. Any of these gaudy pieces I buy. Even newer ones sell. My wife keeps a lot of them, but, you know, it's an enjoyment for us. So anyway, Juliana, another one. Now, this one isn't marked if I remember. This one's in a book. This is a neon. Really awesome colors. This is just the bomb when it comes to the neon era. And these are usually Art Deco. I think they show a book page in this one. Yeah, they show it. This is from the actual catalog. Now, I've seen this one in the catalog. I've got one of these books here, too. So, and there's a bunch of books. I'll cover those in the last video so you can get a gist on the best books to get. I've seen them all, so, you know, I try to study up on these. I own many of the price guides, too, but I'll touch on those. I'll include links in the next videos for these as well, too. But that's what I have for today. Again, I've got Part 2 and Part 3 coming up next 2 days. Pay attention to these. These are showing up. These are all over the place. Every Savers in the country that I've ever been in has nice costume jewelry that you can find that's relatively cheap. But that's what I have for you today. Well, there you go. Again, this is part 1. I'm going to shoot out some bolos and some specific items this week on jewelry itself, costume jewelry specifically. When we buy big lots of costume jewelry, sometimes we run into gold as well, too. So keep that in mind when you find these. Some of the costume jewelry, the makers anyway, actually made fine jewelry on rare occasions as well. So there's other items you can find, and you always want to check out to know the difference between gold and gold filled. At least be able to tell visually that difference. But that's what I have for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.